What's unique about the Texas coast is we're almost completely protected by a thin ribbon of barrier islands that protects our sheltered bay system. That's one of the most important places on Earth in terms of life and sustaining life.
What they're proposing is ludicrous.
One of the worst places you could possibly build an oil facility.
The water quality is going to be horrendous.
Destroying the environment of one of the last bastions within the Texas Gulf Coast.
I'm Dr. Rick Tennant. Spent 36 and a half years as Director of Marine Education for the University of Texas Marine Science Institute here in Port Aransas. I've lived here in Port Aransas for 44 years. We raised 2 daughters here. So Port Aransas as a community is very near and dear to my heart. We're in the Corpus Christi Ship Channel. This is the only pass for 150 miles of the Texas coast that allows for the recruitment of larval fish, shrimp, and crabs, the commercial and recreational important species, into this fragile bay system. It's a conduit to get the fish, crabs, and shrimp from offshore where they spawn, through the pass, into the sheltered bays, the primary and secondary bay systems, where they spend the early part of their life, and then at the end of that 1 year, they migrate back offshore and spawn again. Port of Corpus Christi is proposing to dredge the channel at 75 feet to allow for very large crude carriers to come in and dock at Harbor Island, where they will build a tank farm and load oil for export. A VLCC is over 1,000 feet long. It's enormous. I think the potential adverse impacts of this are going to be just horrible. As you're dredging, you're stirring up a slurry of mud and silt and clay, and that causes a lot of suspended sediments in the water, which basically creates shade, and the seagrasses and the algae that are important in the bay system require light. And when they're shaded out, they die. And if they die, it takes off the entire ecosystem here. If there was an oil spill, the tides and currents would carry the oil into these very natural bay systems, and the effects would be disastrous. And if this area ecologically was destroyed, I'm not sure what would happen with this community.
All of my friends and neighbors here in Port Aransas are opposed.
There's just so much risk. Why take all this risk?
This is the impact zone for a hurricane.
We won't be able to undo what is done.
I don't wonder if San Antonio knows what the plans are for their beach.
Can't we save one special place?
This town's been here for about 130 years. We've had a mix of light industry, oil tanks historically across the ship channel, but mostly it's ecotourism. And people come here because this is such an environmentally diverse and ecologically rich system. And the potential for disrupting that economic force here is pretty great. There are areas that need to be kept pristine and allowed to survive ecologically, and that's the lifeblood of Port Aransas.